Today is day 3 of Pigeon Pie-tober. Wait, don't click away. I know what you're thinking. This is meant to be Barb from Stranger Things. Not this butterfly-covered bish, but this could be. Just watch. Quick note, there will be some spoilers of Stranger Things in this tutorial. This is inspired by Barb from Stranger Things. So the first bit is pretty Barb, veins and colouring all, maybe a lot less detailed and green-toned than the actual Barb. So if you want to barbecue yourself, all you gotta do is follow this tutorial and you'll get this. But cut all the butterflies, use slugs instead of caterpillars, and then add a bunch of slime and webby gross things. And then you're Barb. But if you want to be a little bit of a prettier gross thing, keep watching. Starting off, we are going to wash out our skin and get all corpse-like. So mix some white cream paint with some foundation and get to it. Now using a sea sponge, I am stippling on some colouring that I can see in this picture. There are lots of greens, yellows, purples, greys, and all kind of motley, rotting, bruised corpse texture. Fun fact, I am using those really cheap water-activated face paints you get for this. You know the ones, the super streaky ones with barely any pigment. I really like them for bruises and stuff like this, as my normal water-activated paints would have to be so watered down to get this sheer that they drip everywhere. And I personally don't have alcohol-activated paints, which you could use for this same effect. Mostly because they are expensive AF, but also because they can be dangerous if used wrong. Back to these paints. Because we used cream paint in our base, I used a Nye Clown White. We can use water over the top of it and the white won't budge. So if anything you stippled is too harsh, just wet the sponge and go back over it, or you can tap it out with your finger if it isn't too harsh. That posture though. I'm going around my eyes with purple and grey eyeshadows. This does not need to be blended neatly. In fact, try for the opposite. Then with the dark red and purple, I'm going under my eyes. And her nose is all black around the nostrils, so we gotta do that to get all the sexiness. And more black motley texture to the eyes. And I am adding grey and then black to my lips, reverse ombre style, but hers seem to be a solid dark purple or blue looking back now, so if you want to, you can do that instead. Now we are adding veins to the face. You may see that I have already done my chest, so I just did there what I am showing you now. I am using matte shadows in various mixes of purples, blues, and greens with an angle brush to add a bunch of veins everywhere. And they are everywhere. But I think the ones that are extending from the eyes are the most striking, so I'm making them the darkest. Don't use too much shadow or too much pressure, and try to keep them subtle. Trust me, the camera is washing most of these out, because in real life these are very visible. Any veins you don't like, or are too harsh, go back in with the brush you used for the white base and tap it out. Pretend that vein never existed. Then fill in your lash and waterline with black. And I am now adding a bunch of redder veins everywhere. This is faster if you just let your brush go where it wants to and don't worry about it. And I added a bunch of conditioner and shampoo to my hair to make it all gross looking, but it was actually very nice smelling if you were wondering. And I'm now outlining where I'm going to put some of the caterpillars and shading beneath them where they would cast a shadow. And I did a few to figure out how to do them. Basically, some are on top of the skin and some are half burrowed beneath the skin. So this burrow bulge will have a shadow to either side, and the breached caterpillar will cast a shadow onto the skin. Monarch butterfly caterpillars are striped in yellow, white and black, so I am first adding yellow stripes. And while that dries, let's add a barb-like insect crawling out of our mouth. Again, if you want to go full barb, do slugs instead of caterpillars. Same method as on the chest, white outline, yellow stripes, shadow onto skin. Now I am highlighting the bulges with cream white. And then adding the black stripes to the caterpillars, as well as their little legs and antennas. Also adjusting the shadow if it seems too light. Then going back in with the white, as the white base wasn't as white as their white lines. Now taking my big box of butterflies, which are just 2 printed sheets of paper glued together and folded, I am placing these butterflies all over. When you are printing off the butterflies, make sure you mirror the print so that the butterflies align when you glue the sheets together. Now I am just placing these butterflies all over, a couple on my shoulders and chest, but most swarming around my eyes. I am laying down spirit gum around my eyes, not on anywhere of my lid that is mobile. And before you ask, yes, spirit gum is safe for your eyebrows if you remove it correctly with spirit gum remover or prosthetic remover. Then I'm just adding the butterflies. Make sure they aren't poking you in the eye when you do this. You should be able to blink and see. But do crowd as much of your eye as possible, as the less of your eye you can see, the creepier it is, I think. Unless you have white mesh contact lenses. Then keeping your eyes visible would be mad creepy. Now you could leave it like this, but I wanted a little more barb, so I added a bunch of black diffused dots that I could see in the photo, which I guess are either bloodless freckles or puncture wounds. And of course I had to try to add some of the sliminess. If you want to do this, I recommend using gelatin or something that looks slimy and shiny but will set, because the lip gloss I used ended up running and ruining the paint, so I had to fix the caterpillars. And it also ended up muddying the veins and just being an all-around mess. But that's all guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and got some ideas, or maybe learned some new tricks, whether you want to be Barb from Stranger Things this Halloween, or your own original creation. See you tomorrow for more Pigeon Pie-tober, and remember to stay classy peeps.
I just need to come to you to say, do not rip the butterflies off your eyebrows. Use spirit gum remover. I see you. I see you about to rip off these butterflies. You be careful. Do not just rip them off.